I want to ask you guys about Purdue because that's now 4 losses in a row for Purdue, who before that we were talking ourselves into potentially being like a Final Four caliber team. And I think we know the flaws of this roster, right? They're kind of they're top heavy. They got a big 3. Those big 3 can be exploitable.
I don't think they have a big 3.
I think they have a big 1?
A big 2.
Big 2?
Yeah, it's not a big 3.
Fletcher Lawyer had 20 tonight.
He's a good player. He's a really good player some nights.
He laughs in the face of your criticism.
I'm just saying, he's not a big 3. Like, come on.
I mean, I just think in general there's so much pressure on those 3 guys to be really good every night. And it's really hard for them to win high-level games if they don't get really good stuff from all 3. And the level that Braden played at for most of league play was ridiculous. And now that he's come back to earth a little bit, now that Kaufman Wren struggles, I know.
So much is on him. It's like unfair.
And he plays so many minutes.
Right. It's 2 years
in a row. And he gets beat up, and he's not the biggest guy. Yeah. Like, there's just so much every possession that he has to do from the win. And, if you can get into him and disrupt him, it really derails individual games.
Now, that was a really impressive thing about Indiana tonight, because I did not think that they were the kind of team that could disrupt him like that could be able to impact him defensively. And he had 6 turnovers. He didn't score in double figures like that. That was as good of a defensive performance as we've seen against Braden. And one thing that teams have started doing, it started with the Michigan game and the loss. Last 10 minutes of that game, they went to a 2-3 zone, and they basically sent 2 guys at Braden. They were just kind of like, you're not going to –
well, who else is really –
nothing you're going to you do is going to – we're not going to allow you to beat us. And I think that's what teams are doing now. And the problem you run into is they don't really have another guy. And, frankly, we've said it all year. Trey Kaufman-Ryan has 8 blocks on the season. They don't have anybody on their team with more than 8 blocks in the season. The guy with the most blocks is averaging 0.3 blocks. Braden Smith has the second most blocks of anybody on this roster. They don't have rim protection. What was Malik Renault from the floor tonight? 7 for 7. What was Umar Ballo from the floor tonight? 5 for 7. Indiana got wherever they wanted, got in the paint, and that is when you have a combination of you struggle with turnovers, you struggle with interior defense, you struggle with defensive ability to pressure the ball. Like there's so many ways that you can kind of beat this Purdue team, and I want to be all the way in on them. Before you
got one more transfer again.
Probably.
Listen, Matt Painter,
last night.
Shaka.
Last night.